Hi guys, my name is Borrodante, and welcome to The Visitor. Now, as I said in the previous vid, this is literally a random picture that I just started out of nowhere. Had no idea that it will grow into something, I don't want to say big, but at least interesting. So I ended up having this kind of sketch, and I really liked it, and you guys seem to also like it on Instagram. And after that, I just was playing around with the brushes in Procreate, and I ended up having these colors. So I was watching one tutorial that I still haven't finished watching yet though. So in that tutorial, there was a lot of talk about how important it is to make sure that the picture reads right at the first split second. What we want the viewer to see on not the verbal level, but like on the level of just what this picture looks like. And it should look like what we actually want to tell verbally as well. So it has to be in harmony. So in this case, I made sure that the picture looks relatively soft in the surrounding area. But in here, I introduced like a dark spot inside of which a really high contrast character appears. So I felt like this was like a very cool challenge here because we have a lot of objects in this scene and the main character, this visitor, he appears like he takes only a small portion of the picture. This is it. But that's obviously the point of the picture, right? We see him just slightly sneaking in, but it's like horrible. It's terrifying. And he is obviously like, I don't know what it is. I guess it was somewhat inspired by the SCP-106. I actually keep repainting this guy over and over again. It's in Art Studio Pro. For some reason, it's just such a cool concept of some kind of creature that sneaks through the walls and everything and actually ruining everything, like making it decay, fall apart, and stuff like that. And in this case, I played around with the same concept again. Everything he touches starts to fall apart like this. So this is happening like right now. We can see in the sketch that this is actually like pieces are falling down. And I use that to make sure that I add like dark spots right here all over the character. And of course the dark wall right here that is catching the smallest amount of light is also really highlighting and serves as a pedestal to our main guy. Now I don't know if I want to improve anything composition wise further. I tried applying some kind of filter to it. Well, not a filter, just playing around with the curves and making like a absolute contrast. This kind of stuff. In this mode, when you are like literally doing it at the 50% level, you can see the objects that are white right now. These objects are gonna be the most attention dense. Like they will attract a lot of attention of the viewer. And right now I really feel like these trash cans right here are taking a bit too much attention, more than they should. And also the way details are distributed are really like pointing a lot in this area. A dark shadow here, then generally a darker body of these trash cans with a highlight in the middle, kind of like repeating the same thing as it goes in here. I'm not sure if I want that, so we'll see if I can do something about that. I don't know, the picture so far, thanks to this experiment with the proper color positioning, like this is the kind of composition work that goes beyond the sketch. The only thing I changed, as you can see right here, this is the picture ended before, and somewhere around here as well. So I literally moved the whole picture to the bottom and to the left a little bit to add some space, because the character was a bit too high at the top of the picture. This is not completely forbidden, but considering that we're really hiding the character in a very small portion of the picture, we need to make sure that he's positioned in all the third rules and whatever, you know, so he's gonna be just at the right place. He has to be as striking as possible, even though we barely can see him. So yeah, generally I think I like it. I'll play around a bit more with the coloring. I think I'll add a little bit more shadow at the ceiling, because usually any kind of chandelier, it spreads more light to the bottom but not so much to the top, but not really. I don't know, I feel like this feels a bit flat. Maybe darkening it a bit would work better. So we'll see what happens. Let's start. I'll actually start tomorrow morning wearing something else, but you don't care. Alright. So what I'm doing here is I decided to play around with the color abstraction. Here's the thing, I don't really know a lot about color abstraction. I mean, there's not a lot to know, it's just about how you decide to do it and whether you are able to pull it off in your art style or not. Meaning, it's not like a physically based effect or anything like that, so it's totally up to you how it's gonna work. So I decided to come up with a rule, because you always need to have a rule for the painting so the thing would look consistent generally. And in this case, I decided to introduce the color abstraction at the semi-shadow area of all the objects, when they're lit not completely, like not at the top area, but not at the complete shadow area as well, somewhere in between, when there's transition of the lighting going on. And so the basic idea is that I'm just introducing improvised brushwork with two opposite colors, cyan and magenta. And I have them in separate layers to make sure I will be able to just balance them out, so magenta wouldn't dominate over cyan or anything like that. And also just to be able to delete all of it if it doesn't work. So yeah, I don't know. I guess I can merge it now. Come on. What? Just merge. Thank you. And yeah, I also decided to add some more dark spots on the concrete next to the character and just a few other small changes, whatever. So for now, I'm just searching for it. So how am I gonna highlight the character with the whole color abstraction thing? The character himself is going to have a different combination of colors of the color abstraction. I think it will somehow highlight him from the rest of the objects. Many traditional classical artists use this kind of technique where everything in the scene has one logic, but the main object, the main character, has a different logic. Everything around may have a lot of really high contrast details, but the main character will be a very blank, bright spot, for instance. Or everything is cold, but the character is warm. Stuff like that. It always helps to highlight what is important in the picture. So I hope that thing will work out. I'll just go ahead and continue doing that for a little while, and then we'll see. Probably we'll move on to adding some more definition to the character. So yeah, decided to fix up some perspective right here, because originally the whole sketch I did without any guides, based on my own judgment of perspective, and I gotta say it was pretty close. Which is surprising. Just little changes in angles here and there are necessary when we're getting closer to a higher level of detail. And Liquify seems to be the best tool to do this with. I gotta say, one thing that kind of annoys me in Procreate's Liquify, I don't know if you can see, but when I do a quick little stroke, it actually starts to make a change in Liquify in like half a second after I make a stroke. So if I make a stroke really quickly, it just won't do anything. Like, it doesn't show up right away, but if you do several quick small strokes in a row, fixing things here and there, you'll notice that the third, fourth stroke is not gonna do anything if it's a quick stroke. I guess it's like taking its time to calculate the full resolution of the previous strokes. Yeah, here we go again. But yeah, generally it gets the job done. Should probably submit this as some sort of bug report. So as I said, I added a different combination of colors for the color abstraction of the main character. He has more like an orange with a warm green instead of magenta and cyan. So generally he looks warmer, as he should. Obviously he's kind of a warm white dude. Adding some reflection on the table right here should do a lot more of that. On all the surfaces right here and here we should add reflection, and in here as well, because such a big blank surface that has no reason to be matte should definitely show up with some reflection on it. So yeah, let's do that. It will immediately bring the picture to the next level of being alive and just realistic and interesting to look at. So yeah, let's do that, and then we'll work a little bit on the details of the visit tab. Alright, I think I'm generally satisfied with the way everything around the character looks like right now. Yeah, the reflections really brought these surfaces to life. This one kind of still looks dirty. I don't know, I'll try to work around it a bit, but later. Now let's go ahead and work on the character a little bit. So yeah, let's add these sticks, stronger shadows, wrinkles, and little bits of everything to the surface and see how it works out. Let's make sure that we choose the proper colors for these. Alright, I think this is it for now. Had some definition on the shape, looking pretty nice. I love the way the eyes turned out, especially when you look from a certain distance, somewhat like this. The contrast seems to be just right. One thing though, I think we should push him a bit closer to white, even closer. Like this is like a special thing about this guy, that he's like very, very white, like an albino cockroach or something like that. Very creepily, unsettlingly white. So right now I added some shadows, but really I didn't make the values precise enough. I made them a bit too high contrast, just so I would quickly define the shape generally. Toning things down is easy afterwards. It's not easy to know that you want to do that. So yeah, we'll probably do that. We need to make him even whiter, yet keeping some really sharp, really tiny dark shadows, somewhat the way I did already in here. Like this shadow, these shadows will remain, but we'll see. There will be a lot of experiment on the character. Tell me guys what you think about the process. I'll try to pump out these episodes as frequently as possible, so we will just have more fun and just movement going on. We finally start painting on the channel, so yeah, let's go ahead and do it right. So I'm gonna need your guys' feedback on the progress and generally what you think on the picture. Is it really that creepy? Everyone keeps telling me like this is really unsettling, even though I'm not really painting anything particularly horrible here. I don't know, I think that's actually cool about this picture. So yeah, what do you think about the introduction of extra like colors, all this color dynamics, color abstraction that's going on? I know it's still not exactly finalized, like implemented fully, but when you look at the picture in general, it looks pretty interestingly. But of course I think the main improvement is, as always, the reflections on the surfaces. They made the floor, these surfaces, the blank stuff really became a lot more interesting with the introduction of reflections. One thing I really wanted to say this whole episode is that I'm really trying to take things slowly. This is a thing after I watched that composition tutorial. There's nothing more important than the composition, because this is what the picture is. Details are like, very few people will see it, only if they really want to see the details. Otherwise, you just look at the picture in general. If you like it like this is all that matters. You will like it when you zoom in as well. So I'll be analyzing this more. We'll be adding some changes to the composition in the future as well. I hope I will come up with more ideas on how to improve it. And yeah, for now, this is it. This is The Visitor, episode 1. And I thank you for watching if you did. I guess you did if you're here. Leave a like and subscribe. Tell a friend. Say hello. Do whatever you want. And I will see you in the next one. Bye. By the end of the episode, really feeling like I kind of woke up, because after the long break from the painting episodes, you kind of like, you don't really know what you're doing, but now I really think we're onto something here.